Hey there, honey bunnies. Welcome to episode 47, I think, of your Sovereign Storytellers podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wolf. My website is thatmichellewolf.com. Two L's, two F's. Today's episode, I don't have a title for yet. And to be honest, I'm a little hesitant even to venture into these waters, but I feel like it's important for those of us who are, for whatever reason, drawn to or plopped into the southeastern U.S. I grew up in Texas, and Texas sometimes considers itself part of the South. Generally, when you're in conversation with someone from the deep South and you're just wanting to be polite or feel included, most Texans consider themselves a sovereign nation and, like just a happen to be connected to the United States. But Texans tend to view themselves as their own stolen country. But I left Texas when I was 23, almost 23, and then lived in Colorado until 49, I guess. I think I turned 50 down here. Came down to the South because of family reasons, as a lot of us do. Live in places where we would never choose to live because of people that we choose to be with. I think Atlanta has a lot going for it, and I'm not bagging on the entire South. But this morning on the way to work, I passed another very long, what I call the truck parade of hate. It's usually, it can be as few as 5 trucks. This morning was particularly long, and I couldn't get my camera fast enough. I had my camera out, but then forgot to hit the video button. There was approximately 20 trucks turning left in front of me with their giant rebel flags and American flags, and of course the obligatory Trump flags. If you're listening to this podcast and you're a Trump supporter, I don't know why you would listen to me, because I don't have a good thing to say about the guy ever. But what disturbs me more is how these groups down here, the truck parade of hate groups, have really grabbed onto him as their Lord and Savior, while saying Jesus is their Lord and Savior, but talk about a false idol. Weren't we told not to do that? Isn't like idol worship a bad thing? I remember it being told to us as a bad thing. And make no mistake, these groups, will slap you right across the face, literally, with the Bible, dare you question them and say that they are followers of Jesus, which is absolutely untrue. So the whole Southeast, I never wanted to live here. Never, ever, ever have I ever. Never, ever, ever have I ever. Isn't that like a drinking game? I could probably use a drink right now. Never have I ever wanted to live here. I came through here as a teenager and was like, yuck, 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 all the way up to Charlotte, North Carolina. My dad's family's from Mississippi. I've lived in Mississippi as a child and as a teenager. I lived in Kosciuszko for a while. Never wanted to be here. It's very sad here. My daughter left Fort Collins, Colorado when she was right after she graduated high school, as soon as she could. Her friend lived in Midtown Atlanta, and she came down here and really never came back. Like, she would come back when she'd get scared. She'd come back and do a semester of college. but she never really came back. So, and I never understood. I mean, this kid at like 10 years old watched Gone with the Wind approximately 729 times in a row. I have never hated a movie so much. I'd never seen the movie, never read the book, never paid any attention to anything from the Deep South other than what related to my family and especially my Aunt Lorraine's biscuits and tomato gravy. I didn't have any interest in this place. This land is soaked in blood and tears and tragedy and poverty. So I didn't want to be here. Never could understand my daughter's fascination with the South. Then we got to digging in ancestry.com, and she had an like the big membership because she's in college right now. And so I spent about 6 hours on the computer until I nearly went blind tracking names and stuff. And darned if I might get the details wrong. I'm sure somebody in my family may be able to correct me, but I don't remember how many greats grandmother, but one of the great grandmothers, the Native American one, we found her name in the rolls. She was not on the Trail of Tears. She stayed here. So many got taken. I don't know, don't have any way of knowing what the story was of how she didn't end up in that. She's not Cherokee. She was Choctaw. I might have that messed up too. It's a little early in the morning and I haven't had enough coffee. So anyway, she is from her birth records. She was born in the county where my daughter lives. And I nearly fell off my chair when I saw Gwinnett County on her records. And I was like, well, there you go, I guess. I guess that, there's some connection that's active in my daughter that she feels very at home in Gwinnett County, Georgia. And of course, this is hundreds of years ago. So I dug, and our family came through here, starting in Virginia, West Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Didn't find anybody further north than Virginia. And then just came down Georgia, and then from Georgia, Texas. I'm not sure how that happened either, and then we were Texas then on my mom's side. Anyway, my daughter loves it here. I can't stand it here. My mom doesn't like it here. But we're here because we have, deeper reasons and significance for being here. But part of my job here, air quotes, is to do the work that I'm capable of doing on the land. I am capable of clearing land. I was trained by a Native American medicine woman, Kira Morgan, who I still talk to sometimes, even though she passed away years ago. She was Cherokee. So, and my mom learned from her, and I learned from my mom and other people how to make big medicine wheels, how to do clearing of stuck, stagnant energy on land, in houses, on land, the earth itself. But I can't, even in my little tiny slice of North Georgia, there's not and the people I've had come out and we've had ceremonies, and still it's just so much. It's so much that sometimes I'm just like, are we ever going to get it cleared? Is it possible to get it cleared? It is, of course. These are just on bad days where I'm like, damn, there's more sorrow here than any person or group of people could clear in 100,000 years. And I live actually about 15 minutes from the Trail of Tears. Like it came right through where I live. So super great. Damn kids. Kids are why I'm here. But my point is, I noticed a trend after I got here. I'm sure happening before I got here, but when you energetically look at a map of the United States, the whole lower southeast region is dark. It's a dark energy, it's thick, it's painful, it's bloody, it's stuck. But the influence of Hollywood shakes things up. You know, Atlanta has a strong, it's like the Hollywood of the South. You can't go down in Buckhead and around in Atlanta and not see a movie set somewhere. I mean, movie star sightings are quite common. That energy coming in and out of here kind of busts things up. But then I noticed that I kept hearing about women I would consider healing types, healers of some sort, being drawn to this area, like actually wanting to come here. What? Crazy. Actually wanting to come here, trying to move here, and then deliberately moving here. And then I had a conversation with a very powerful Koya teacher, Sarah Ballard, and about this, that this area is calling for healing. Of course, any area that is not functioning at its optimal level calls out for healing. So here we are, and here's this trickle of healers coming into the South. And we're little pockets here and there, connected energetically, but like a net, almost like a pocket of light here, a pocket of light 100 miles from here, all around, forming this network on a soul level to try to heal this land. And I have to remind myself, and I guess I want to do this podcast for anyone else who lives in a place where the energy is just hard. It's just hard. It's a burden, and if you don't have to live here and you don't feel drawn to do this work, then I'd move. I'd move far, far away if I were you. But since I am here, I can do what I can. And we can all do what we can down here when we see these truck parades. And these truck parades aren't just in the South. I mean, they happen in Oklahoma and Texas and Nebraska and all around. Like, this is not, it's just feels anyway. I don't have any data to support this, but it definitely feels like there are far more of these truck drive-in hate groups, flag flying folk down here. So the temptation is, when I see 20-something gigantic planet-destroying vehicles, turning left, and I am thick in the judgment. When I see that, it's a stereotype, and I like nothing about it. So I will own that I have a harsh judgment against that stereotype, that kind of truck, especially when I see 20 of them flying Trump flags and rebel flags and American flags with Bibles on the dashboard. Those four things do not go together. The only one of those, I'll say two. Of those two, I would pull out the American flag and I would pull out the Bible, and I would soak them in salt till all the yuck got off of them. So anyway, I'm owning my judgment about those people. And that's the temptation, right? Is to achieve resonance with what we're watching. So here's this, I'm driving along with a beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains view. There's still steam coming off the mountains. Every morning there's steam and fog, and I actually managed to leave the house early enough to come to work to see that. And it's beautiful, beautiful. And I can only see just a little bit of the Blue Ridge Mountains from where I'm at. Um, and then I see that and I'm like, I feel like somebody just spit in my soup. I just feel grossed out. My stomach tenses up. I get scared. I get nauseous. And then I feel hate. And then I have to take a moment and, I have to catch that in the early stages. Otherwise, it can ruin my whole day and just deflate me. But sensitive people feel the intensity and the aggression and the simmering violence. And underneath all that, the deep fear of annihilation, which is really what's underneath this Make America Whiter Again nonsense. Underneath all that is a desperation, a desperate fear of annihilation. This gets talked about on the scary message boards of how the white race, women of the white race need to be pumping out more white babies. And if they're not, they're letting down their race. I don't even want to talk about that. It's so gross. I promise I will get to a point. I'll get to the point. The point is holding your own field of resonance when you are in a place that has a high density of people who are connected to fear and anger and rage and violence and dominance. Like, there is no room for equality. There's no room for discussion. I'm telling you, don't even bother trying to engage someone who's ingrained in that in a discussion and try to change their mind. You won't. You won't change their mind any more than they would change your mind. So there's no point in even wasting your air on that. And they think I'm equally as wrong as I think they are. So at this point anyway, I've never successfully, and now I don't even try, managed to cross that divide in any way. That's like the far cemented polarization, in that. So anyway, how do you maintain yourself? If you're an empath, if you're a highly sensitive person, if you have a bunch of open centers in your human design chart, you're going to feel the pain embedded in the actual dirt here in the South. You start to hit, Missouri, Tennessee, further down, Kentucky, all around, or, in the Carolinas, and then Georgia and Alabama and all that. It just gets harder and harder and denser the further south you get. So what do you do when you feel it? Well, first of all, you've got to know, it's helpful to know your human design chart, which of course, y'all know I offer readings on that at a pretty low price. If you know you have a bunch of open centers, then you can practice not shielding, but learning to feel the discrepancy in your energy when it happens and let it flow on through. Dealing with your own fear of the intensity of their hatred and their fear. Feeling the pull on your own energy system when, a big parade like that goes by. It's like this big fire hose stream of darkness. And there's a pull for resonance. We're always being pulled to resonance. We're always feeling, especially if you're open-centered, a lot of open centers, and that means you're an empath. That means you're going to be sensitive. And we're drawn to resonance with the dominant energy. I say this all the time. Everyone will resonate with the dominant energy in the room, whether that's light or dark. And you get to choose which energy you're adding to the mix. And it can be hard when your system is like, doesn't judge it as light or dark, preferred or not preferred. It's just energy, and it's strong. So we resonate with the strongest sound. Our energy, like a tuning fork, you bang a tuning fork and any other tuning forks in the room will start to vibrate. It's the same. A big, loud stream of hate is a strong stream of energy, and our system is designed to resonate and, achieve resonance with strong energy, light or dark. If you are an empath, you have an extra layer of responsibility to know where your energy's going, what's it being influenced by, where are you spending your thought energy, where are you achieving resonance and letting your own fear then hook you into the, truck parade of rage. We're responsible for our own energy systems. And if you're listening to this podcast and you've never listened to it before and you need resources for being an empath or being sensitive, send me a message and I'll hook you up. If you can come into coaching with me and I can really help you turn your life around. But if you can't afford that or don't want that right now, just let me know. I'll send you tons of free stuff. We have to take responsibility for our own energy field when we are, all the time, but especially when we are living in a place where there's a constant magnetic pull to resonate with the shit stream. Okay, we can't afford to do that. And we can't afford to do that because then we're adding we're adding our own strand which to that strong stream already, and so it gets strengthened. And most of us don't consciously want to be a part of making that stronger. We actually want to be a part of weakening that stream of darkness. But we can't weaken it by hating on it. I have those knee-jerk reactions of hatred toward those groups. It happens every time. Whenever I see a rebel flag, I become them. I want to smash it. I want to snatch it off their truck. I want to snatch it off their truck and burn it. I hate those rebel flags. I hate what they represent. I loved those flags when I was a kid, before I knew the deeper meaning and before I knew that seeing those flags hurts people. And I hate those Trump flags too. I want to snatch them both off, throw them in a bonfire. That's my knee-jerk reaction. And I'm aware of it because I practice this daily. I hold myself highly accountable for where my energy's going. So, I catch it. I acknowledge it. I give compassion to the part of me that is just like them and wants to stomp them out of existence, just like they'd like to stomp me out of existence. I get it. I know my darkness. I know my shadow. I've done shadow work. I'm a Scorpio. I was born doing shadow work. And then I taught shadow work for years. And then I made a Shadow Blessings course and took those people through 40-day cycles of shadow work several times. So, I see it, and we have to see it, and we have to own it. You can't love and light your way into transformation. You can't turn away from these rivers of darkness. You have to see them in yourself and find your compassion there first. And then you have to recognize it's all just energy. And then you have to choose where you're going to put your energy. So it requires not staring at those truck parades. It requires pivoting back, reversing, 3 deep breaths to turn you 180 degrees. 3 breaths, 60 seconds to turn 180 degrees away from the hate toward the love. But it takes effort and it takes commitment. So if you're living in the South and you're aware of these things, or maybe you're just becoming aware that some of your physical issues might be due to the energy you're living in, especially if you have an open G center, the geography of where you live is very important. So if you have to or choose to live in a place that's not congruent with your body, you're going to need to do some things to compensate for that. Like take a lot of trips to Paris or Seattle or wherever your body feels comfortable. I love both those places. The Pacific Northwest and England and Paris. I was only in England for a little bit of time, but when you're sensitive, you can pick up the energy of the land as soon as your feet step out on it, sometimes even before then. So taking responsibility as an empath, not falling into the cult of specialness, not falling into the cult of I'm an empath, I'm so sensitive, I have to stay home wrapped in bubble wrap, or I have to, create for myself a steel barrier that keeps the world away from me. That's nonsense. Empaths are the strongest people on earth. But you have to train in it, and you have to take responsibility for that sensitivity. You can't use it as a way to stay a victim. I'm so sensitive that... Nope. Yeah, I'm so sensitive that I need to do some extra things to be responsible for that sensitivity, and then to use it as the superpower that it is. To be aware of where the rivers of darkness are so that I can sprinkle some light into that. So I can add my stream of light so that I can grow stronger and stronger in my ability to be a radiant beacon for love so that anybody around me or in the area can feel that and resonate with that. You don't cure hate by stepping on it and stomping on it. You just make your love so strong that you become the dominant energy field in the area. It's just energy. We will resonate with the strongest one, light or dark. Energy doesn't differentiate between this is good, this is bad. Only we do that. But we can become a force for good if we take responsibility for our sensitivities and do a daily practice that keeps you aware of what it is you're up to, what your energy's doing, where your energy is being pulled, and how to flow like water around and in all of that soup. So if you're in one of these places, turn up your light. And you can't turn up your light if you're hating on the haters. If you hate on the haters, you're a hater too. I don't want to be a hater. Although I was for a few minutes. Although I am for a few minutes. Till I catch it. But you don't fight against the hate. You don't hit the hate. You turn toward love. You amplify your heart. You connect to the earth. You connect to your source. You connect to whatever you call God. And you meet those energies up in your heart space, and you turn up the volume. And you find a love so big that you can love them good old boys. You can love them Bible thumpers. You can love them so much because you can see that they're so scared. They're so scared. And when I get in my heart and I turn my love up, I feel their fear and I have enormous compassion for it. And I understand that the Bible is the weapon that makes them feel safe as their semi-automatic rifles. Okay, I get it. I do. I know what it's like to feel afraid of being annihilated. I know what that's like, so I can find love for it. And I can commit to doing deeper practice. I can commit to when I see those when I see those flags, to turn it around quicker and quicker, to feel my own hate of them faster, so that I can find the love that I feel connected to in Christ consciousness, not necessarily the human Jesus. But I can connect there faster and faster. And so as those trucks are turning in front of me, one after the other, I can say, I love you, bless you, I love you, bless you. Bless you in your sadness, bless you in your scaredness, bless you in your anger and your rage. And may you awaken, and may we all awaken. May we reconnect in every moment to the current of peace. May we understand that energy is just energy. May we wake up and become more responsible for our own energies. May we remember to turn toward love with compassion for the darkness. May we remember to bless our land, whatever little piece of property we stand on. May we remember to bless the people around us, even the people we are passing in the grocery store or on the highway. May we remember to be sovereign in our energy so that we can be responsible and contributory to the whole collective. So that's what I have for you today. Think less, feel more. If you want to know more about human design, let me know. I'm a little burnt out on advertising, so y'all know where to find me. ThatMichelleWolf.com. Everything's on there. Everything's updated. It ain't pretty in a lot of spaces. I don't have a copywriter, but it's all there, and you know where to get in touch. So think less, feel more. Talk to you next week.